Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. Imagine discovering that a single coin, something so ordinary, so familiar, sitting quietly in your drawer could explode your bank account by more than $763,000. Yes, a simple US quarter, 25 cents. That's the power sitting in the palm of countless Americans who never look closely enough. A brief pause lands like a heartbeat before the next line. And today, you're about to find out if you might be one of them. Because hidden among the millions of 2006 South Dakota state quarters is a rare, breathtaking error coin currently selling for as high as $763,000 in today's market. Not last year, not a decade ago, right now. And if you think the odds are tiny, here's the truth. People every year discover life-changing coins in the most unexpected places. Kitchen jars, old jackets, even in parking lots. Someone joke-tweeted once that their most valuable asset was in their couch cushions. Well, this time it might not be a joke. So stay with me, because what you're about to learn may rewrite the story of your financial future. To understand why this quarter is commanding such extraordinary value, you need to step inside the world of minting. In 2006, the U.S. Mint released the South Dakota State Quarter, featuring Mount Rushmore and the iconic pheasant. Billions were struck, but just a handful, so few that experts can practically name them, left the mint with a dramatic and highly coveted error. A minting anomaly so stunning, collectors are now fighting to own one. And here's where your heartbeat should pick up, because this error isn't just rare. It's unmistakable when you know exactly what to look for. We're talking about doubled features, misaligned structures, design clashes that were never supposed to happen. When these details collide, they create an anomaly so striking that collectors will pay life-changing money for it. That $763,000 price tag is not a rumor. It's the market responding to scarcity and desire colliding in the most powerful way. And if you're thinking, wait, how does a quarter cost more than a Lamborghini? Well, that's the beauty of numismatics. Wealth appears where the average person forgot to look. Right now, collectors across the country are aggressively pursuing these coins. Demand is at an all-time high. Wealth seekers, investors, and serious numismatists are not waiting. They know the window for acquiring these legendary error coins is getting smaller, and once they settle into private collections, they may not surface again for decades. So when someone asks why the value is skyrocketing, the answer is simple. The world wants what almost no one can have. And the best part, the part you truly need to lean in for, is that you might already own one without knowing it. But before I show you how to identify it, there's something even more important you need to understand. This isn't just about coins. This is about reclaiming the hidden wealth buried in your own past. Inside old jars, inherited collections, boxes you haven't opened since the early 2000s. The people who change their financial destiny aren't always the ones with the biggest paychecks. Often, they're the ones who know where to look. Think of it like treasure hunting, except instead of needing a pirate map, all you need is a box of old laundry quarters. Collectors aren't chasing the quarter because it looks different. They're chasing it because it represents a moment in minting history that cannot be repeated. Just like a rare painting or a vintage car, this coin has become a symbol of exclusivity, an asset whose value climbs as fewer remain available. And with the current market sitting comfortably at around $763,000, the momentum is undeniable. But what if I told you the next big numismatic discovery could be sitting inches away from your fingertips? What if your next decision, right after this video, could unlock a financial chapter you never imagined? People often dream of wealth, but only a few take the steps required to claim it. And today, you're closer than ever. So check your quarter jars. Revisit your family collections. Open every drawer you've ignored for years. Because the treasures that build wealthy lifestyles don't always flash like gold bars. Sometimes, they look like ordinary pocket change. And when you find that extraordinary 2006 South Dakota quarter, if you do, remember this moment. Because this was the moment you learned that wealth isn't always earned. Sometimes, it's discovered. From the moment it slipped into circulation back in 1999, almost no one imagined that an ordinary Georgia state quarter could one day be worth more than most American homes. Yet here we are. Collectors across the country are scrambling to find a rare mint error that has skyrocketed in value to an unbelievable $699,000. If you think that sounds impossible, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you may find yourself opening old drawers, coin jars, and dusty boxes you haven't touched in years. Welcome to a journey where small metal discs can change your financial future. The story begins in 1999, the launch year of the U.S. State Quarter Program, a project that changed modern coin collecting forever. Millions of people saved those quarters simply because they looked interesting. Little did they know, a handful of Georgia quarters, born from an extremely rare minting mistake, would later be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And yes, one of these error coins recently stunned the collecting world when it hit $699,000 in the current market. Now, you might be asking yourself, why on earth would a 25-cent coin be worth more than a Lamborghini? Well, that's the journey we're about to take. But first, let me ask you this. When was the last time you checked the change in your car's cup holder? Exactly. Keep watching. Things are about to get interesting. The Georgia quarter error isn't just rare. It's the type of rarity that sends collectors and investors into a frenzy. This isn't damage. This isn't wear and tear. This is a bona fide mint-produced error from the U.S. Mint itself, and that makes it pure gold in the eyes of experts. Some versions show dramatic off-center strikes, others reveal double dies, and the most valuable ones contain a special, extremely sought-after transitional metal composition that was never meant to exist. Imagine a coin minted in the wrong material, slipping into circulation, unnoticed for decades, only to resurface today as a six-figure treasure. It's almost cinematic. And here's where things get exciting. These coins didn't go to collectors. They didn't go to museums. They went to grocery stores, gas stations, and coffee shops, meaning one of them could be hiding in a place as ordinary as the change jar in your kitchen. Think about that for a moment. Before we continue, let me drop a quick pattern interrupt. If you're suddenly imagining yourself sprinting to the nearest drawer like a contestant on a game show, don't worry. You're not alone. Happens to every coin collector, even the experts. These Georgia quarters with error traits have become the holy grail of modern U.S. coinage. Demand is exploding. Auction prices keep climbing. Collectors with deep pockets are battling one another, driving the value higher and higher. And here's what most people don't realize. The current market isn't cooling down. It's heating up. The appetite for rare state quarters is at an all-time high, and the Georgia error sits right at the top of that demand. Picture this. You're holding a coin most people overlook. A coin worth enough money to buy a luxury home, pay off every debt you have, change your retirement, or even launch the lifestyle you've always imagined. That's what the owner of the recent $699,000 Georgia quarter experienced. One moment, it's just an odd coin. The next, it's life-changing wealth. But here's the cliffhanger. How do you know if your Georgia quarter is the right one? What if the next six-figure coin is sitting silently in your possession right now? How can you spot the exact markers that transform a simple quarter into something powerful? Stay with me, because this is where most people make the biggest mistake. They rush, they assume, they guess. But real collectors, real investors, and real sellers know that identifying an error coin is a precise process. And if you want to unlock its value, you need to follow the correct steps. In a moment, I'm going to walk you through how to examine your coin, how to spot the traits of the high-value errors, and how to get it professionally certified so the market takes you seriously. But before that, let me ask you something. And be honest. If a coin in your house right now turned out to be worth $699,000, what would you do first? Pay off your mortgage? Travel? Invest? Or maybe finally step into the wealthy lifestyle you've been dreaming of? Because the truth is, you're not just looking for old coins. You're looking for opportunity. And opportunity rarely announces itself. Sometimes it hides inside a quarter. As we close, remember this. Every major coin discovery started with someone exactly like you. Someone curious, someone hopeful, someone willing to look a little closer. And today, that someone could be you. So check your Georgia quarters. check every old coin you own. The next fortune maker could be waiting quietly, right where you least expect it. And if you're serious about selling or unlocking the true value of your rare coins, stay tuned, because the next video will show you exactly how to identify high-value errors that most people miss and how to sell them for top-tier prices in today's booming coin market. Have you ever opened an old drawer, a forgotten jar, or a dusty shoebox, only to find a coin you barely remember owning? What if I told you that one of those coins, specifically a simple 2000 Maryland quarter, the one you've seen 1,000 times, has recently shocked the collector world by selling for an unbelievable $842,000? Yes, you heard that right. Nearly $1 million for a coin most people still use to buy gum. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you might be reaching for every old coin collection you've ever ignored. Act 1 begins right here, with a story that starts the same way countless wealthy collectors have started theirs, with a coin no one noticed until it changed everything. You see, the 2000 Maryland quarter, part of the U.S. Mint's legendary 50-state quarter program, has a rare error variety that makes it one of the most sought-after modern coins in the world. The kind of error so spectacular, so dramatic, that experts describe it as the lightning strike of minting mistakes. It doesn't just add value, it multiplies it. And that's why today, its current market value has soared to an incredible $842,000, with collectors actively hunting for more examples that may still be hidden in everyday circulation. But before we dive into what makes this coin so valuable, let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your change? Or better yet, your old coin stash? If your answer is not recently, then brace yourself, because Act 2 is about to change the way you look at every single quarter you touch. And I promise, by the end of this video, you will never view spare change the same way again. So what exactly makes this Maryland quarter worth more than some luxury sports cars? It's all about a dramatic minting error, an error so rare that collectors are willing to pay whatever it takes to own it. This particular variety features a powerful combination of off-center strikes, double dies, and design distortions that transform the coin into a genuine historical anomaly. Imagine a coin that quite literally shouldn't exist, a coin the mint never intended to release, a coin that slipped out into the world, and now demands hundreds of thousands of dollars. That, right there, is the magic that drives collectors wild. But here's where it gets exciting. The demand for rare state quarters has skyrocketed. And once that recent sale hit $842,000, the market's energy shifted overnight. Suddenly everyone, from casual hobbyists to elite collectors, is on the hunt. Coins that once sat ignored in coffee cans are now being evaluated like hidden treasure. And this is your moment, your chance to potentially uncover life-changing value in the coins you already own. Now I know what you're thinking. This can't be common. You're right, it's not. But here's the twist. The people who find these high-value errors, they're not professional numismatists. They're everyday Americans, teachers, truck drivers, retirees, shop owners, regular people who simply paid attention. One man found his rare quarter while cleaning out his garage. Another discovered one in a jar of coins his grandmother left behind. And if you think that's unbelievable, just wait until you hear what happened next, because Act 3 is where the story reaches its peak. Before we dive into the ending, let me interrupt with a quick pattern reset. Humor me for 1 second. Imagine going to a gas station, paying with a quarter worth nearly $1 million, and then driving away thinking you got a bargain. Sounds ridiculous, right? Yet it happens more often than you'd think. People throw away fortunes simply because they don't know what they're holding. But you're here. You're learning. You're preparing to be one of the people who knows exactly what to look for. Let's move into Act 3, where the real transformation takes place. The part where the coin doesn't just become valuable. It becomes a symbol of opportunity. When the $842,000 Maryland quarter sold, the numismatic world took notice. Its sale cemented the reality that rare, high-grade mint errors from the state quarter era have entered a new golden age. Collectors with deep pockets are now aggressively searching for error coins from the late 1990s and early 2000s, and the Maryland quarter sits at the top of that list. This is the moment the market becomes truly thrilling. You see, coins like this don't just rise in value, they rewrite the rules. Every time one is discovered, the price ceiling rises. Every time one sells, demand intensifies, and the scarcity grows even sharper. That's why now, more than ever, serious collectors are paying premiums that would have seemed impossible just a few years ago. But here's the cliffhanger I promised, the part that keeps you at the edge of your seat. Experts believe there are still undiscovered Error Maryland quarters out there. They may be in circulation. They may be sitting in a safe deposit box. They may be in your home right now, tucked away in a place you haven't looked at in years. And the only question is this: will you be the person who discovers the next six-figure coin? Because the truth is, the window is open, but it won't stay open forever. As more coins are found, certified, graded, and placed in private collections, the supply will tighten and the chance of finding one will shrink. But today, right now, there is still time. And that's your advantage. So as we close, imagine this. Imagine the moment you open a small box, slide out a forgotten quarter, and realize this is it, the rare one, the life-changing one. Imagine holding something that turns a simple moment into a milestone, an opportunity into a legacy. Don't underestimate the coins you already own. Don't overlook the value sitting right in front of you. Because as that recent $842,000 sale proved, one rare coin can do more than add to your collection, can elevate your future. From the very first moment you hold a rare coin in your hand, there's a spark, almost imperceptible, like holding a forgotten treasure that was never meant to be found. But what if I told you that an ordinary-looking 2000 Massachusetts state quarter could ignite that spark into a wildfire worth up to $896,000? Yes, you heard that correctly. A pocket change coin, struck nearly a quarter century ago, is making collectors across the United States scramble to check their drawers, vaults, and forgotten jars. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this coin is exploding in value, how to identify the error that's sending prices sky high, and how you might be sitting on life-changing money without even realizing it. Now, before we dive in, quick question. When was the last time you really looked at your loose coins? If your answer is, never, well, congratulations. Today might be the day the universe decides to surprise you. This is Act 1, The Awakening, and your journey into the world of powerful, wealth-building rare coins starts right here. Collectors, investors, and everyday Americans are discovering that the 2000 Massachusetts quarter isn't just another state coin. It's a silent giant hiding in plain sight. Minted to celebrate the spirit of the Commonwealth, it features the bold Minuteman statue on the reverse, standing proudly as a symbol of American resolve. But some of these coins were struck with a rare, dramatic mint error. An error so striking, so unmistakable, that the moment collectors spot it, their heart rate spikes. It's the kind of detail that transforms a 25-cent coin into a six-figure powerhouse. And the demand? Sky high. The market? Hotter than ever. And the opportunities? Well, let's just say they don't wait. This brings us into Act 2, the discovery. And this is where your excitement meets absolute clarity. Picture the scene. A coin unexpectedly slips from an old jewelry box, or falls from the back of a dresser drawer, or comes from that mysterious jar your grandfather kept under his bed for decades. You pick up the Massachusetts quarter, and suddenly, something looks off. But it's not just off, it's rare. It's elite. It's a ticket to a completely different financial reality. This coin's value doesn't come from nostalgia. It comes from a powerful, coveted mint error, struck off-center, double-struck, or featuring a dramatic die clash that should never have left the mint. These errors create a one-of-a-kind anomaly, something the market craves with intensity. And when these error coins surface at auctions, bidders don't walk, they run. Prices escalate fast, collectors battle fiercely, and the final hammer price sometimes lands in the breathtaking six-figure range, recently pushing toward an astounding $896,000. And just when you think the story can't get more thrilling, hold that thought. Because there's a reason why this coin, right now, is skyrocketing more aggressively than ever. Market confidence, growing demand, limited supply, all colliding at once in a perfect storm of value. But let's take a tiny pattern interrupt here, because if you're staring at your screen thinking, okay, but why haven't I found one yet? Don't panic. Rare coins have a funny sense of humor. They reveal themselves at the most unexpected times, usually when you least expect it and most need it. Kind of like that one friend who shows up late but brings dessert. As we transition deeper into Act 2, I want you to imagine what it would mean if you discovered this coin today. The doors it could open, the financial breathing room, the vacations, the investments, the upgrades, the shift into that wealthy lifestyle you've worked for your whole life. Because collectors aren't looking for cheap deals, they're looking for opportunities. And right now, the 2000 Massachusetts Era Quarter is the opportunity everyone is chasing. But we're not done. Not even close. Because in Act 3, the transformation, you're about to see why this moment matters for you specifically. Here's the truth most people never realize. It only takes one rare coin to change everything. One coin to rewrite your financial chapter. One coin to open pathways that seem distant. One coin to place your family on a new trajectory. And the Massachusetts 2000 Era Quarter represents that possibility. It's proof that hidden wealth is still out there, circulating quietly in old piggy banks and pocket collections, waiting for the right eyes to find it. That's why collectors are hungry. That's why auction houses are laser-focused. And that's why sellers, people just like you, are cashing in for life-altering amounts of money. Now, let me leave you with a cliffhanger that's more real than anything Hollywood could script. As you're watching this video, another Massachusetts Era Quarter could be discovered and hit the market. Prices could rise. Demand could spike. Or, if supply tightens, it could become even rarer, pushing values into uncharted territory. Which direction will the next sale go? How high will the next record climb? And more importantly, could the next six-figure discovery be sitting somewhere in your home? So after this video ends, go. Search. Look through those jars, those boxes, those drawers, those old forgotten containers. Because as long as these rare Massachusetts Era Quarters circulate in even the smallest corners of America, anyone, absolutely anyone, could uncover the next big treasure. And who knows? Your next step might not just identify a coin worth $896,000. It might unlock the wealthy lifestyle you've been building toward your entire life. In a world where most people walk past loose change without a second glance, there exists a small group of people who know a secret so powerful that it has turned pocket change into a six-figure fortune. If you've ever held a quarter from the year 2000, you may have been holding something extraordinary and never even realized it. Today, we're diving into the legendary 2000 Virginia State Quarter Era coin, a coin so valuable that its current market value has surged to a staggering $892,000. And if you think that number sounds unbelievable, wait until you hear why collectors are fighting, sometimes literally, to get their hands on it. Before we begin, ask yourself this. What if the path to a wealthy lifestyle, the one you've been imagining for years, isn't hidden in complicated investments or risky schemes, but sitting quietly in your home drawer, inside an old jar, or tucked in your grandfather's coin box? Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this coin worth nearly $1 million, and more importantly, how to find out if you have one. And trust me, you do not want to click away. Your financial future might just depend on the next few minutes. Our story begins in the year 2000. America was celebrating a new millennium, technology was taking its first bold steps, and the U.S. Mint was releasing one of the most beautiful state quarters ever made. The Virginia State Quarter, honoring the founding of Jamestown, was meant to be flawless. But as with all great treasures, perfection wasn't what made it valuable. The mistake was. During production, a rare and astonishing minting error slipped through the cracks, creating a version of the Virginia Quarter that is now one of the most sought-after modern coins in existence. Collectors call it the Miracle Quarter. And once you understand why, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. Now, you may be wondering, if this coin is worth nearly $1 million, how is it that most people still don't know about it? Excellent question. The answer is simple. The few people who do know about it don't want competition. But today, you're entering the circle of knowledge. And no, there's no secret handshake, unless you count the one you'll give yourself when you check your change after watching this. So what exactly makes the 2000 Virginia Era Quarter so valuable? It's all about a rare minting flaw that drastically affects collectors' demand. Only a tiny number of these Era Quarters exist, and the passion among collectors, especially those who track modern state quarter rarities, has pushed the market into a frenzy. Each year that passes without a new discovery drives its value higher. And that's why the most recent sale hit $892,000, With experts projecting that the next sale could break the $1 million mark, let's make one thing clear. This isn't hype. This is a coin with rising demand, shrinking supply, and a collector base that has become fiercely competitive. Think of it as the real-life equivalent of discovering buried treasure. Only the treasure fits in your pocket. At this point, you might be reaching for your wallet, your coin jar, maybe even your car's cup holder. Good, because you should. And before you rush, let's walk through the signs that separate the ordinary Virginia quarter from the legendary error. But before I tell you exactly what features you should be looking for, let me pause for a quick pattern interrupt. Have you ever noticed how coins magically disappear when you need them, but the moment you stop caring, they multiply like rabbits? Well, this time, those little escape artists might just be hiding your next big payday. Now, let's return to the treasure hunt. The error on the 2000 Virginia quarter involves anomalies that appear during the striking process. Subtle but powerful indicators of rarity. Experienced collectors know these details instantly. New collectors, once they understand them, go from beginners to experts almost overnight. And once you see these signs for yourself, you'll never misjudge a coin again. But here's where the story gets even more exciting. Those who have found this coin didn't just stumble upon money. They stumbled into a new lifestyle. Owning a coin worth nearly $1 million opens doors. Financial freedom, early retirement, debt elimination, luxury purchases, or simply the power to breathe easier and live wealthier. And that brings us to the most important question of this entire video. Could you have one of these rare coins without even knowing it? Let that thought hang for a moment, because this is your cliffhanger, your turning point. Somewhere in your home, right now, you may be sitting on generational wealth disguised as spare change. People have found these coins in coin rolls, in inherited collections, and even in old dresser drawers. And every discovery sends a shockwave through the collector world, reminding us that the next big find could belong to anyone as we reach the final moments of this video. Remember this. Wealth doesn't always come from where you expect it. Sometimes it comes from knowledge that most people will never search for. But you're here. You're learning. You're preparing yourself for the opportunity that could transform your financial future forever, so take action. Check your coins. Explore your old collections. And if you have a box of coins you haven't looked at in years, well, I'd say now is the perfect time. Because the market demand is soaring, collectors are hungry, and the value of the 2000 Virginia error quarter is climbing with no sign of slowing down. And if you find one, remember this moment. The moment you learned that a simple quarter could unlock a wealthy lifestyle. Stay curious, stay determined, and who knows, your next coin might be worth not just hundreds, not just thousands, but hundreds of thousands of dollars. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that the old North Carolina quarter sitting in your dresser drawer, the one you thought was worth only 25 cents, is actually worth more than $762,000. Yes, $762,000 for a single 2001 North Carolina state quarter. Sounds unreal, doesn't it? But stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this coin is exploding in demand right now, and how to find out if you might be holding one without even realizing it. This is not just about coins. This is about opportunity. About the moment when an ordinary person becomes wealthy simply because they knew what to look for. Welcome to today's deep dive into one of the most talked about U.S. coin errors in recent history. The 2001 North Carolina state $quarter error. A coin that has shocked the market by hitting a current recorded value of $762,000. Our journey begins over 2 decades ago, when the U.S. Mint released the North Carolina state quarter as part of the legendary 50 state quarters program. Millions of these coins hit circulation. They passed through grocery stores, pockets, gas stations, and the hands of people who had no idea that a tiny mistake at the mint would one day create one of the most sought-after rarities in modern coin collecting. The error itself appeared subtle, almost invisible to the untrained eye. A tiny misalignment here, an unexpected double strike there, an imprint that wasn't supposed to happen. For years, no one thought much about it. It was just another quarter. And not just any example, this one showcased the error so clearly, so sharply, and so unusually that it didn't just catch the attention of coin collectors. It electrified the entire numismatic world. Suddenly, A coin that was designed to celebrate the Wright brothers' first flight became the focus of one of the biggest surges in collector demand in years. And almost overnight, the value skyrocketed into the hundreds of thousands. Here's where the fear creeps in. Because as you're watching this, you might be wondering, what if I already had one of these and spent it without knowing? What if one is sitting in a jar somewhere in my home, waiting to be found before someone else finds theirs? Don't worry. In just a moment, I'll walk you through exactly what makes this quarter so valuable. But that comes later. Right now, our story shifts from discovery to suspense. The moment collectors realized how rare this error was, bidding wars erupted. Auction houses reported unprecedented interest. Private buyers, some of them wealthy investors, others newly minted collectors, began offering sums that would have sounded ridiculous just months earlier. But here's the twist. The supply of error-free North Carolina quarters was enormous, but the supply of the error version was microscopic. That imbalance ignited a fire, and every time one of these coins surfaced, the price jumped higher. What started at tens of thousands grew into the hundreds of thousands. And then, in a breathtaking moment that stunned experts, a pristine high-grade specimen hit the market and sold for $762,000. That sale didn't just make headlines. It created a new normal. The market realized this coin wasn't just rare. It was historic. The demand surged again. Coin collectors weren't the only ones searching. Ordinary people, retirees, new sellers, even estate liquidators suddenly entered the hunt. And the funniest part? Some people literally checked old quarter rolls sitting in their glove compartments. Imagine trying to pay for your coffee and accidentally handing the cashier a $762,000 quarter. You definitely want that one back. But as exciting as this all sounds, here's the urgent part you need to understand. Experts believe only a handful of these error quarters still remain undiscovered. Once those final coins surface, the market could shift forever. Here's where everything comes together. You're not just watching a story about a rare coin. You're watching a roadmap to opportunity. Because whether you already collect coins, inherited some, or simply have spare change lying around, you could be closer to a life-changing discovery than you think. And let's be honest. Most people dream of financial freedom, the ability to live on their own terms, travel freely, help their families, and build a wealthy lifestyle. But very few see the opportunities hiding in plain sight, sometimes in the spare change you've been ignoring. Now imagine, for a moment, what would finding a $762,000 quarter mean for you? Would you pay off debt? Retire early? Upgrade your home? Start that business you've always dreamed of? Or maybe create the financial cushion every family deserves? This is your chance to locate one of the most sought-after error coins in the United States. And here comes the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. In my next video, I'll reveal exactly how to spot this quarter, the secret diagnostics experts use, and how to get your coin authenticated so you can sell it for top dollar. These coins are in demand right now. The market is hot. Collectors are active. And sales in the high six figures are happening today, not someday. Today. So hang on to every old quarter you find. That little piece of metal might be the key to the wealthy, comfortable lifestyle you deserve. This story began with a discovery. It continues with rising value. And it just might end with you holding a fortune in the palm of your hand. If you want to know how to identify this $762,000 North Carolina error quarter, stay tuned for the next chapter. Trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next. Have you ever held something in your hand that looked completely ordinary until you found out it could change your entire financial future? Today, we're diving into the story of a coin most people overlook. A coin sitting unnoticed in countless drawers and jars across America. And yet, one single error version of this coin recently shocked collectors with a jaw-dropping market value of $762,000. Yes, $762,000 for a 25-cent piece. Before you think, that can't be real, stay with me because what you're about to learn may make you check your pockets, your kitchen drawer, your coin stash, maybe even your childhood piggy bank, with a whole new sense of urgency. This isn't just a video about coins. It's a video about hidden opportunity, about wealth disguised as everyday objects, and about the rare finds that turn regular Americans into financially unstoppable ones. Now, let's jump in, but be warned, you may never look at spare change the same way again. Act 1 opens with the beginning of one of the most remarkable coin hunts in modern history. The year was 2003, when the U.S. Mint released the Maine State Quarter, part of the widely celebrated 50 State Quarters program. Millions of these quarters poured into circulation, and most people spent them without a second thought. But quietly, something slipped through the high-precision minting process, something the mint never intended. An error, a minting flaw so rare, so unusual, that collectors would later fight for it like gold miners battling over the last nugget in the river. Imagine for a moment how many people touched this coin before realizing its value. Store cashiers, kids buying bubble gum, someone paying for a toll. Maybe someone accidentally used it for laundry. And hidden in plain sight, a quarter worth more than a luxury car, a down payment on a mansion, or early retirement. Here's where it gets fascinating. You might assume all rare coins look damaged or unusual at first glance. But the Maine quarter error that soared to $762,000 doesn't scream for attention. It whispers. It hides. It blends in until the trained eye notices the subtle but powerful differences. The misaligned die, the double striking, and the something's not quite right feeling that only seasoned collectors recognize. And yes, these error quarters are still out there, still circulating, still being found. Which brings us to an important moment. If you haven't checked your coins yet, you soon will. Act 2 begins with something I call the discovery shock. This is the moment when collectors realize that rare coins aren't relics locked away in museums. They're in circulation. They pop up in thrift stores, estate boxes, old coffee cans, even in pocket change from the gas station. And here's the twist. The Maine 2003 error quarter isn't rare because it's old. It's rare because it's unique, and uniqueness drives value with unstoppable force. The current verified market price for the highest grade specimen? $762,000. And interest is rising like a rocket. Collectors want it. Investors want it. Auction houses compete for it. And every time one is found, the excitement and the price surges higher. Now imagine this. You're sitting at your kitchen table. You dump out a handful of coins, expecting nothing but ordinary. And suddenly, you notice the slight doubling on the design, the subtle strike anomaly. Your heart starts beating faster. You hold the coin up to the light. You check it again. And in that moment, you realize your life just changed. Sounds dramatic? Maybe. But it's happening more often than you think. The rare coin market isn't just alive. It's thriving. High net worth buyers are hunting harder than ever for unique pieces. Shows, online auctions, private dealers, they're all competing fiercely for rare errors because they know these pieces aren't just artifacts. They're assets. Let me pause here with a pattern interrupt. Have you ever looked at a quarter and thought, you could be worth more than my car? Probably not, unless your car needs serious help. But that's the new reality. Everyday objects can hide extraordinary value, and this Maine error quarter is the perfect example. Transitioning into the deeper truth, we reach Act 3, the moment of transformation. Because this video isn't simply describing a rare coin, it's inviting you into a mindset. The mindset of someone who spots opportunity before the rest of the world notices it. The mindset of someone who recognizes value where others overlook it. The mindset of someone who understands that wealth often hides in unexpected places. So here's your cliffhanger moment. Because this is where things get intense. How many of these error quarters still exist? How many are sitting right now in jars, drawers, or forgotten boxes? And more importantly, could one be sitting in your home? The truth is, experts believe only a tiny number have been discovered, meaning the potential for new finds and new record-breaking sales is hotter than ever. Collectors are actively searching. Buyers are actively waiting. And the market is primed for major movement. The demand for rare error coins is exploding, and when demand rises while supply stays extremely limited, prices don't just go up, they surge. That's why the Maine 2003 error quarter, hitting a valuation of $762,000, isn't surprising. It's foreshadowing, a sign of where this market is heading, a hint at the life-changing opportunities that still exist for people paying close attention. So here's where your journey begins. Check your coins. Explore your old collections. Look through the change you've been ignoring for years. Because every great discovery starts with curiosity, and sometimes with a single quarter that could unlock a wealthier, freer, more empowered lifestyle. Don't wait for someone else to find it. Opportunity rewards the bold. And the next rare coin that captures the world's attention could be sitting right in your hands. If you enjoyed this journey, stay tuned, because in our next video, we're revealing another unbelievable coin that most people walk past every single day. And trust me, you'll want to be first to know. Imagine opening an old dresser drawer, the same wooden drawer you've ignored for years, and finding a single ordinary-looking coin that turns out to be worth more than most luxury cars. Now imagine discovering that one mistake, one tiny mint error, could turn a Kansas quarter you received as change back in 2005 into a windfall big enough to rewrite your financial story. Today, we're talking about the elusive and astonishingly valuable 2005 Kansas State $quarter mint error, a coin that recently shocked the market by reaching a current value of over $762,000. Yes, you heard that right, $762,000 for a single quarter. Before you assume this is one of those myths people repeat at flea markets, stay with me because this isn't a rumor. It's a verified, authenticated powerhouse in the world of rare coins, and it could be sitting closer to you than you think. But, quick question, when was the last time you actually looked at your change? If you're like most people, you probably treat quarters the way we all treat those mysterious leftover cables in a drawer. We keep them, we ignore them, and we assume they're worthless. But what if that habit is costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars? Don't worry, I'm not here to shame your junk drawer. Trust me, mine looks like a time capsule of bad decisions. But I am here to wake up the part of you that knows opportunity doesn't always knock. Sometimes it jingles. As we go deeper into this story, I want you to imagine the possibility that your journey to a wealthier lifestyle, one defined by freedom, comfort, and confidence, may start with the most unexpected item in your possession. And trust me, by the time we reach the end, you'll understand why collectors and investors are scrambling to acquire this coin while its demand and market value continue rising at a pace that even experts didn't see coming. The story of the 2005 Kansas quarter begins innocently. Kansas was celebrating its iconic American bison, a symbol of rugged strength and raw beauty, minted proudly on the state's official quarter. But the United States Mint, despite its precision and reputation, isn't immune to rare and spectacular mistakes. And it was one of these minting anomalies that transformed an everyday coin into a legendary investment piece. The error is known by collectors as the "In God We Rust" variety. A simple grease-filled die caused the letter T in the word trust to disappear, turning a national motto into a quirky, unforgettable phrase. And while it may sound humorous, this error is worth extraordinarily serious money. But here's where the story takes an even more fascinating turn. Many mistakenly think all Kansas error quarters are the same, but the one that skyrocketed to a jaw-dropping market value of $762,000 wasn't just any error coin. It was the pristine, nearly flawless top-tier example, graded at a level so high, so untouched, that collectors went into a frenzy. It wasn't just an error. It was the best version of the error ever discovered, and that combination of rarity and condition transformed it into a record-breaking prize. You may be wondering, how does a coin worth 25 cents become worth more than the average American home? The answer lies at the intersection of passion, scarcity, and investment psychology. Wealth-minded collectors don't just buy coins. They buy stories, anomalies, and unrepeatable moments in history. They buy items that can never be recreated. And this Kansas quarter error sits in that elite category where demand outpaces supply by a margin so dramatic that values climb rapidly year after year. Now, before you run to your coin jar, stay with me because the most important part of this video is still ahead. I'm about to tell you why now, right now, is the strongest moment in years to search, evaluate, and possibly sell rare coins hiding in your home. And yes, I mean coins just like this one. But first, a quick pattern interrupt. Have you ever had someone tell you, change won't make you rich? Well, in this case, they were very, very wrong. So let's address the burning question. Why is the Kansas 2005 quarter error worth $762,000 today? And why does its value continue to rise? The answer is as thrilling as it is urgent. We're living in a moment where alternative assets, especially rare coins, are becoming status symbols among high net worth buyers. These collectors aren't just purchasing coins. They're securing prestige, legacy pieces, and wealth-building artifacts that can't be duplicated. As demand increases, prices follow. And because only a tiny fraction of these Kansas-era quarters exist in exceptional condition, each discovery triggers a wave of excitement, competition, and aggressive bidding. This leads us to the powerful truth that most people overlook. You might be sitting on a fortune without realizing it. Your parents' old coin jar, that forgotten coffee tin in the garage, the coins you tossed into a drawer during a move. Any one of those pieces could be your ticket to a lifestyle shift. And the only thing more painful than missing out is discovering you had something priceless after someone else walks away with your profit. But you're not going to let that happen because you're here learning what others still don't know. Before we wrap up, here's your cliffhanger. The Kansas quarter isn't the only state coin with a secret that can make you wealthy. There are others, some even more valuable, circulating quietly in pockets, shops, and piggy banks right now. And in our next video, I'll reveal the coins that experts believe could break the next $1 million threshold. For now, your mission is simple. Check your coins. Examine your Kansas quarters. Look closely at the word trust. And if your heart skips a beat when you see that missing T, remember this. You're not just holding a coin. You're holding an opportunity that others would give anything to find. And if you need help valuing or identifying what you have, don't hesitate. There has never been a better moment or a hotter market to sell rare and error coins at their highest possible worth. The demand is soaring, the buyers are ready, and wealth favors those who act. Your future might just be hiding in the smallest pocket of your home. Keep watching, stay inspired, and stay ready, because the next great discovery could be yours. In a world where most people let opportunity slip right through their fingertips, there exists one small, round piece of metal that changed someone's life forever. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old drawer, and discovering that a coin you've ignored for years, something you assumed was worth 25 cents, suddenly has a market value of $875,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single 2006 Nevada $quarter error coin from the United States Mint, worth nearly $1 million. Now the real question is, could you be holding one too? The story begins with a coin so deceptively ordinary that millions of people use it daily without a second glance. But beneath the silver-colored surface of the 2006 Nevada quarter hides a secret world of minting anomalies. Rare, high-value errors that the market is hungry for. Today, collectors and high-end investors are paying record-breaking amounts for coins like this, and the right error, specifically the misstruck design that defines this coin, has reached a staggering value of $875,000 in the current market. Now, before you say, well, that's impossible, I'd never be lucky enough to find one, I want to stop you. Don't underestimate what may already be in your home. The individual who discovered the top-value Nevada error coin didn't buy it at an auction, didn't inherit it, and didn't stumble upon it in some dusty museum basement. They found it tucked inside a small jar of spare change on an ordinary weekday. Suddenly, the mundane became extraordinary. It's almost funny, isn't it? All those times you ignored loose coins, and all along one of them could have been your ticket to financial freedom. Speaking of which, do you still remember where your old coin boxes are? You might want to keep them close because you're going to need them by the end of this video. But what makes this Nevada quarter so expensive? Why is the market so obsessed with it? The answer lies in its incredibly rare minting error, created unintentionally during production at the U.S. Mint. This specific error caused a distortion in the mountain range design, a misalignment that turned the coin into a once-in-a-generation collector's item. And because only a handful were ever released into circulation, demand has skyrocketed. Wealthy collectors are battling for ownership, investors are eyeing it as a long-term asset, and the market price keeps climbing. Today's verified sales have placed its value firmly at $875,000, and it shows no signs of slowing down. Now here's something most people overlook. Every time a rare coin like this appears in the market, it makes all similar coins more valuable. That means if you own other state quarters, mint sets, or error coins, the ripple effect increases their worth as well. Isn't it funny how an unnoticed coin kept in a sock drawer for years can suddenly outperform real estate, stocks, and even gold? But that's the world of rare numismatics. Unpredictable, electrifying, and extremely rewarding to those who know what to look for. And here's where urgency comes in. As collectors rush to secure the remaining undiscovered pieces, the window of opportunity shrinks. Once a coin like this becomes fully accounted for in private collections, the price stops rising for the everyday finder and instead becomes available only to elite investors. So if you've been thinking about evaluating your old coins, this is the moment. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. By the way, speaking of attention, did you just suddenly remember that drawer full of old change you swore you'd organize someday? Go ahead, keep it in mind. Because by the time we reach the end of this video, you'll never look at a quarter the same way again. This brings us to the final act, the transformation. Stories like the Nevada 2006 Error Quarter don't just inspire curiosity. They ignite possibility. They remind us that wealth isn't always earned in years. Sometimes it's found in seconds, in the quiet moment when you flip over a coin and realize you're holding a fortune. This is the power of knowledge. It's the power of recognizing that rarity equals value, and that the world is filled with rare items waiting to be discovered by somebody bold enough to look for them. And here's the real twist, the cliffhanger you didn't expect. The market experts believe that more Nevada Error Quarters are still out there, unaccounted for. Maybe in someone's pocket. Maybe hidden in a coin collection inherited years ago. Maybe, just maybe, sitting inside your home at this very moment. So before you dismiss the idea that you could be next, ask yourself one question. What if you are? As demand grows and values climb, the people who take action now will be the ones telling stories later. Stories of how a single discovery paid off mortgages, funded dream homes, transformed retirements, or created generational wealth. The wealthy aren't waiting for opportunity. They are searching for it, buying it, collecting it, and protecting it. And now, you can join them. So as we wrap up this journey into the world of the 2006 Nevada Error Quarter, now valued at $875,000. Remember this. The next life-changing coin isn't in a museum. It's not locked in some billionaire's vault. Could be sitting right in front of you. You have the knowledge, the awareness, and the motivation. All that's left is the search. Have you ever opened an old drawer, brushed past a pile of forgotten change, and felt a sudden spark of possibility? What if one of those coins, one you barely paid attention to, was worth not 10 cents, not $10, but nearly $900,000? Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you has already changed the lives of a few lucky collectors. And after today, it just might change yours. This is the untold story of the 2015 Homestead $quarter Error coin. A humble piece of American pocket change now commanding an unbelievable $888,000 in today's market. Welcome to a journey where history meets fortune, where everyday people discover extraordinary value. And trust me, you'll want to watch this until the very last second, because the twist waiting at the end will make you dig through every coin you've ever touched. Our story begins in 2015, when the U.S. Mint released the Homestead National Monument Quarter. Millions were struck, passed from hand to hand, dropped in vending machines, tossed into cup holders. Nothing unusual. Nothing that would make anyone raise an eyebrow. But then, something unexpected happened. A small number of these quarters were minted with a rare and dramatic error. An error so unusual, so visually striking, so undeniably obvious once you see it, that collectors would later scramble for even the slightest chance of owning one. Imagine this. While most people rushed through their busy lives, unaware of what they held in their pockets, a few collectors began noticing strange distortions in the quarter's design. Water pumps that appeared doubled, windows that looked misaligned, metal spreads that defied logic. A minting catastrophe or a minting miracle? Because in the world of numismatics, mistakes are not flaws, they are jackpots. But here's the part that sends a chill down the spine of every serious collector. These errors weren't mass-produced. They weren't widespread. They appeared suddenly, and then vanished. It's as if the mint accidentally whispered wealth into existence, then quickly corrected itself before anyone could notice. Except someone did. Before we move forward, here's a little pattern interrupt for you. Have you ever looked at a quarter and thought, someday this might pay off my mortgage? Probably not. But after today, you might never look at change the same way again. Once the first Error Homestead quarter hit the auction block, the game changed. Collectors across the nation watched something unbelievable unfold. That tiny metal disc, something lighter than a house key, began attracting bids that grew, and grew, and didn't stop growing. The coin world felt the tremor. Some dismissed it as hype. Others whispered that a new golden age of rare coin discovery had arrived. What made this quarter different? Rarity, demand, emotional magnetism, and the kind of story that makes wealthy buyers lean forward, breathe slower, and start raising paddles in high-stakes auction rooms. The truth is, rare coins don't just hold value, they ignite desire. They symbolize exclusivity. They represent ownership of something almost no one else in the world can possess. The Homestead Error quarter transformed from overlooked pocket change into a symbol of American scarcity, a trophy item for elite collectors. Then came the moment that stunned even the experts. A pristine example of the 2015 Homestead Error quarter sold for a jaw-dropping $888,000. Yes, $888,000 for a quarter with an original face value of 25 cents. Think about that, a 355,200% increase in value. You could almost hear the collective gasp from the numismatic world. And just when you think the story peaks here, it doesn't. Because what happened next is what keeps collectors up at night. Nobody knows exactly how many of these rare errors are still out there, hidden in jars, sitting in forgotten purses, living quietly at the bottom of old boxes in basements or attics. Maybe in your home right now. Now we enter the moment of truth, the part where your choices matter. Because here is the reality the market does not want you to ignore. Demand for error coins is skyrocketing. Collectors, investors, and wealthy buyers are not waiting. They are hunting. The Homestead Error quarter has become one of the most aggressively pursued modern U.S. error coins in recent history. If you're sitting on old coins, quarter dollars, half dollars, silver dollars, even jars of mixed change, you are sitting on opportunity. You're sitting on the possibility of life-changing value. But opportunity only favors action. And action has a timer. Let me ask you something. When you picture the life you want, more freedom, more wealth, more time to enjoy what truly matters, does it feel far away? For some people, that future began with a single coin they never expected to be important. A coin just like this one. Here's another pattern interrupt. Imagine calling your bank and saying, "Yes, I'd like to deposit the proceeds from my quarter sale." And the banker asks, "How much?" You pause and say, "Just under 900,000. Now imagine their face. Exactly. But before you run off to check your coin jar, wait, because this is where the real twist appears. Most people searching for the Homestead Error quarter are looking for the wrong thing. They're focusing on the wrong details. They're using outdated information. And because of that, thousands of valuable coins slip through hands every single year. But you're now ahead of the crowd. You know the signs, you know the story, and you know the value. You understand that rare coins aren't just collectibles, they're assets. And in a market where wealthy buyers are fighting for the next big acquisition, the sellers who act quickly will be the ones who win. As we reach the end of this story, let me leave you with a cliffhanger worthy of the journey. The Homestead quarter is not the only modern coin hiding in plain sight with six-figure value. In fact, there's another U.S. quarter, released only a few years later, that experts believe may explode past the $1 million mark soon. And most people have never even heard of it.